Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Grit Talk Show. We're back again with our 15th episode. And as you all know, that we have been covering the journey of different coaches through the Grit Talk Show. And today we have a special guest with us, Trevor Emden. And we have an announcement towards the end, which we will be sharing with you. So Trevor is a marketing strategist, a marketing coach. He's an NLP practitioner and a hypnotherapist as well. So you might have a lot of questions for him. Please feel free to drop them in the comments and we'll be getting back to you. So welcome to Grit Talk Show, Trevor, and you have selected a wonderful topic, that is the no selling strategy. So I think this has been patented to you. What do we have when it comes to marketing? Because that is an area where a lot of startups, even well-established businesses, service providers, and independent practitioners struggle with. Where do you see most of the challenges that lie?
Goodness. Well, first of all, hello, and thank you for the lovely introduction and for having me. Hello to everyone from a very grey UK this morning. Okay, marketing challenges. Well, I work with a lot of coaches. I mean, obviously, this is going to vary. You know, if you're a big corporation or something, it's going to be a different mindset. And, you know, you've introduced me by saying, you know, I'm an NLP practitioner and a hypnotherapist. I'm not sure if everybody will know what NLP is, so we might need to explain that in a minute. But my background is, you know, in psychotherapy. So I come from looking at the mind. And I think that for me, marketing is about the psychology of buying and selling. And what makes us tick. And I find it very helpful when I'm coaching to get my students to look at being the buyer. You know, we're all buyers. We go to shops, we go online and we buy things. And often we don't think very much about this. Well, I want that, I can afford it, press the button, Amazon delivers it, whatever. But there's a lot of psychology that will have gone into what's on the screen before we'll even buy, you know, a book or a pair of shoes or whatever it is from the seller's point of view. So the paradox is that most of us are pretty comfortable being buyers. We quite often enjoy the experience of going buying, especially if we've got enough money to treat ourselves. But most people hate selling. And I think all of us hate being sold to. So the idea that there is, you know, to flip from being a buyer to a seller, the idea that, well, there must be some kind of secret, some kind of trick to it, makes it worse. It makes it like, well, now what's the trick? And then we're trying to find this secret that good vendors and good sellers know. And in fact, there isn't really one. It's kind of hiding in plain sight. And it's just using our psychology, our mind, in the way that we want to be treated when we're buyers. And that's, I've used the vehicle of NLP to help me figure that out, because I just started off trying to sell my own stuff. I drifted into coaching for marketing because I wanted to sell NLP courses and self-help courses, and then nobody came. So I had to figure out why
Trevor, whenever we're out the mall or somewhere and there's somebody who's trying to sell to us, we have this instant feeling of discomfort, and our best we try our best to just avoid a lane where we know that there's a salesperson standing. So why is that discomfort there? Why do we hate being sold to when we actually love buying?
Well, I don't know if there's a succinct answer to that. I think none of us like to feel controlled or manipulated. And, you know, at its worst level, you know, the slick, greasy car salesman image of the 1950s and 60s, you know, the smarmy, kind of charming, come on, sir, come on, madam, you know, you'd feel good in that car. You know exactly what they're trying to do. And it's like, but I don't have the money. Oh, we can get around that. So, you know, we've got loans, you know, all that kind of stuff. People hate it. And we've got wise to it as well, especially since the advent of the internet, because everybody's trying to sell you something. You're bombarded with it all day long. So I think people have got wise to it. So when buying happens in a comfortable way, it happens because we've decided for ourselves, yes, I do want that, and I do think that's good value for money, and I do think I'm going to get some benefit from it. And I think when you see that, if you're the seller, it's like, and you start from that perspective, it's like, how can I make them feel comfortable? I need them to understand what the benefits are of my product or my service. And stay there 1 second. I'm going to get something. I'll show you why this doesn't work. 1 second.
Just it might be.
As I made a video about this, right? Right? And I keep using it. I'm going to make another video about it. So I say to coaches and therapists and all kinds of people, actually, well, I ask you first of all, ask them first of all, when did you ever go out into, you know, go shopping into a shopping mall or a supermarket or in the high street and say to yourself, oh, I think I'll treat myself to a nice new hammer? That almost never happens. We do not go out thinking, I'm going to buy a nice hammer today, because for most of the time, we don't want a hammer. Now, if you've got a nail at home that you keep snagging your clothes on, then you might think, I must get a hammer so I can get rid of that nail. But otherwise, we don't want hammers. And you asked me, where do people go wrong with marketing? What's the problem? And what I see a lot of coaches and therapists and other people in other industries too do is try to sell themselves as a hammer. In other words, they say, I'm a coach, I'm a therapist, I can help you with everything. And nobody ever goes around thinking, you know what, I need help with everything. They don't do that. They don't say, I must find a coach today because I need help with some problem. They start with the problem. I've got a nail that keeps snagging my clothes. Oh, now I know, you know, I need to find out. If you don't know what a hammer is, like, how can I get rid of a nail? And that's what people start, that's what they go on to Google or YouTube and start searching for, how to deal with the problem. They do not go out looking for the product. And you can do it. I've done it myself. You go on to Google or a search engine and you type in a therapist or life coach near me. Just do it for an experiment. And click on the first 3, if you've got time, the first 5 websites that come up with a marketing lens on. And they will all, I guarantee you, pretty much say the same. You might find an exception, but most of them will say the same. They will say, I can help you improve your life. I care about you. I've done all these qualifications. I can make a big difference. I can be your friend. That's not what people are searching for. Those are hammers. That people aren't looking for that. And so those people aren't doing marketing. They're doing publicity, but it means that the buyers, the potential buyers, have to think in their heads, oh, I think I'll go to Google and see if there's a life coach near me. But you have to be a long way down your understanding of your own problem before you know that a life coach might be, or a therapist or whatever, might be the hammer that you're looking for, might be the tool that you want. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. That makes absolute sense. Trevor, I recently experienced this as well, because, you know, Grid holds a lot of webinars. And one of the webinars, I think within the 5-10 minutes, the attendees, they started leaving. And in a feedback form, when I asked them that, you know, why, what were you seeking? How do you think we can improve? Because, you know, feedback is the key, and we've never had that happen before. So most of them shared that the person concerned was sharing more about themselves,
Yeah.
and we were not there to listen about what they're all about. We came for looking for our solutions or the topic that was supposed to be put out there. So I think that is a problem that people have when they're making YouTube videos, conducting webinars, and even in these particular things as well, they have this this is a challenge that they face, that they think that they are trying to convince the other person that we are the hammer, or we are the right person or the right expert, whereas people are not going to be focused on that. Like they're going to click when something hits home, when they're being provided a solution, as you said, that if you do this, then if, the nail that's bothering you, you can get rid of it by doing so and so. So that has to be something that has to be put on later. So I totally agree, and thank you for shedding light on this, because we usually don't see it from this
Yes.
perspective. So, Trevor, so NLP, and you work with teaching people how to use those techniques to get more clients and generate more sales. What skills, like what 2 or 3 top skills does NLP teach a person, which can actually help them generate those sales or get those clients?
Okay, well, first of all, let me just backtrack a bit and say what NLP
Yes.
is for anybody that doesn't know, because I was
All
actually
right.
talking to a lady yesterday who had obviously not heard it before, and she kept saying, now
Yes.
with your NFL, which I think is the National Football League, so I do understand it's jargon. So NLP, the letters stand, the initials stand for neuro-linguistic programming. And if you don't know, if you've never heard of it before, that doesn't help. And I've always hated that it stands for that, because it's like, what does that mean? So neuro means the brain, the way the mind works. Linguistic is the way that we process information at a conscious level, and programming is, well, what it says, that we have a program in our heads, for example, about how to make a cup of tea. We don't have to think about that. But if we've got programs in our heads that are hindering us in or hampering our progress in some way, we won't be conscious of them, but by bringing them to our awareness and say, well, that's just a program, a bit like your computer has programs, and I can just change the coding. We can change it, and you can just play around with it yourself. I mean, there are NLP techniques like with disturbing thoughts, for example. You can imagine you've got a volume control and turn the volume right down, and you'll notice if you try that, the feelings will change. It will if you've got anxious thoughts, it will change. So that's NLP. The skills that it helps with, it's a vast topic, but I think in this context, the biggest and the number one skill that I would have to say, and it relates to what I was saying with the hammer, is rapport. Because people want to feel understood. Oh, you get me. You understand my problem. And when you've got that, instantly people want to know, tell me more. How do you know about that? You've engaged them instantly. So by calling out the problem, I have a process that I teach my students called catch the ball when they're doing sales calls. And in a nutshell, it's exactly that. So what will happen in a conversation is people will leave gaps. They're not even conscious that they're doing it. So for example, they might, so you as the coach, potential seller, might say something like, well, why do you think it's important to you to fix this problem now? And the answer might be, well, it's to do with my son. And then they'll stop. And so I say, catch the ball and throw it back. You're just playing a game of catch. So, and so I teach them to say, it's to do with your son, with a question mark in it. And they will fill in the gap. They go, yes, well, he's going to college next year and we need the money about, right? And so they fill it in. Yeah. Oh, wow, that sounds fantastic, and they'll there's more to that. But that I've done that myself on calls, and honestly had people say at the end of it, nobody's understood me the way you have. And all I've done is repeat back to them the words they gave me. And they fill in the story. They will tell you the story. But because you're listening and you fed back the words they said, don't change them, don't change the words, but you give them back the words they said, they get that you get them. It's amazing how in NLP it's called mirroring and matching. There are lots of, as I say, lots of techniques, but I think if you get that, you asked me about 3 skills, but I just think I'm going to stick with 1, because I think if you get that,
that's a huge skill. Yes,
it's huge. Yeah. And you need to do it in the sales copy as well. You obviously, by the time you've got somebody on the phone, they're already interested. You've got to get them there first. So all your sales messages, whether it's a Facebook post or a blog post, or whether it's a sales page on a website, whether it's a poster in a shop window, whatever it is, it's got to make them go, oh, I'm interested in that. Not, hello, I'm Trevor, not, hello, I'm Khadija, because it's like, well, I don't know who you are, and they're just going to walk on by.
Yes, absolutely. Yes. So, Trevor, anybody who comes across your LinkedIn profile can see a plethora of good reviews and recommendations on your marketing tips and how you've benefited them and help them generate more clients. Is there any particular success story? I'm sure you have many, but is there any particular that really sticks with you and, makes you feel good when you think about it in retrospect?
Oh, well, so many to choose from. My head is so big, Khadija. I guess the one that that comes to mind is the one that I'm somebody I'm still working with. This is a guy, I'll call him Jim, and he was very, very scared of 2 things really when I started working with him. One was asking for money, and the other was raising his prices. Because, and that's another thing that NLP can really help with, because in his mind, we talked a lot about, I mean, over many sessions about him raising his prices and why he wouldn't do it. And to my mind, this guy, and I've told him this guy has world-class skills. He's got a unique set of skills to do with confidence from the voice, which is pretty unusual in its own right. And he's very, very good at it. And he's got a successful YouTube channel, and he gets inquiries, so he gets leads quite a lot. But he was terrified to ask them for more money, and he would say things like, well, people have never heard of me, so I'm not famous, and anyway, won't they think that it's not good value for money if I don't know, put in all kinds of things that he thought, right? So what he's doing there in his head is he's making this disaster movie, which is what NLP teaches, we do that, about what other people will think. It's total fantasy, because we never know what other people are going to think.
Absolutely.
And even if they did, it's none of his business. His job is to put over what he does in a confident way, which is kind of ironic because that's what he teaches people to do. And then say, I charge this much. And it wasn't about getting him to get to a greedy level. It was about getting him to make enough money that he and his family could actually live on, because he was charging so little he couldn't even afford to promote his product. It's like, well, what's the point of that? You're lucky if you get somebody who randomly finds you, but then the money's already spent. So we're talking that. And he also has told me at times that thanks to my coaching, and I don't think this is all the time, but there have been times when he said his conversion rate, in other words, the number of people that he would get on the phone, went up to about 90%. So by knowing what to say to them, that's, nobody has a 90% conversion rate consistently. I don't think. If his conversion rate really is 90% all of the time, I'm going to get together with him and we're going to write a book about it, because that is astonishing. but I know that he's had patches where he's had like a batch of leads, and 9 out of 10 have signed up. So I guess I have bragging rights about that.
So that's amazing, actually, Trevor, because no matter how many amount of, I think, paid marketing we do, and all these campaigns that we run through different platforms, I think at best usually the conversion rate is around 10%. So 90% even for a short while is phenomenal.
It's phenomenal. Yeah.
Yes. So that's the ROI of coaching, and good coaching, that is. So on this note, I'll be thanking you for accepting our invitation. Great to come and deliver a masterclass on the no selling strategy to double your sales. So anybody who is interested in getting more clients, getting more leads, and generating more sales, please do sign up for that. I'll be sharing the link in the comments. And Trevor, any ending words you'd like to share with those watching?
Well, again, thank you for this opportunity and for having me. I guess just to say something about the title, because you and I discussed what to call this a few times. And I've called it, well, we ended up with the no selling strategy, because I want people to understand this is not going to be a masterclass about how to do closes and endings, the traditional kind of, or it's not a rehash of the old selling schools that you get from the 1950s, I think it goes back to. I hate that. I hate being sold to like that. And as I've said in this chat today, I think most of us do. So this is about being able to have natural conversations with people who may or may not want to buy from you, and have them naturally and comfortably say, do you know what, I'd like to work with you. Where do I send the check? How do I sign up, or whatever it is? It's getting them to do that naturally, so they feel good about buying from you, and you don't have to push selling on them. So it's, you're not selling, they are buying. That's why we called it that. So yes, I hope people come 22nd of October.
Yes, thank you so much. And thank you for those watching. Please feel free to leave the comments, as I mentioned earlier. On this note, have a lovely day, night, or morning, wherever you are. And thank you, Trevor. Goodbye for now.
A pleasure. Bye.
See you on the 22nd.
Indeed. Bye-bye.
Bye.